Her biggest accomplishment is rewriting history to the point that a bunch of black historians had to correct her and say, no, this is like really bad. You have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah. Yes. So this baseless history kind of reappears like the boogeyman every few months because when the media doesn't find something, they just go, you know what is always at the center of America? Racism. And so it just got dragged out again. Well, America's favorite historian behind this, Nicole Hannah-Jones, just rejected...
I know she's my favorite historian. I don't know about
that's
you.
That's a little bit of a stretch.
Oh, yeah. Well, maybe the media, American media's favorite historian. I'll give you that.
That is certainly true,
So she just rejected her UNC tenure. And the rationale, I'm sure everyone on the planet can guess, racism, striking again. And her claim is that all of her predecessors had gotten the job when they took the position. However, just a hunch, I think when you're posting things that are constantly fact-checked and historically inaccurate, you're probably not going to get tenure at a higher level university. I don't know, just a thought.
It's pretty to think so anyway, yeah.
So she's decided she's going to move on to Howard University and kind of keep propagating these same ideas, that ever since slavery started in 1619, give or take a few years, that nothing has improved and that Black America is still enslaved, which, just to play a devil's advocate, if you actually believed that, wouldn't your main prerogative be to stay at the predominantly white institution you're already at?
Yeah.
Because wouldn't you just be lecturing to a bunch of white kids about how bad they are and how they're systemically racist and bigots and holding people back?
Get the oppressors to stop holding back all your people.
I don't know that Martin Luther King Jr. made much of a name for himself by preaching to black people about where they were. I have a feeling that it was other people he spoke to that actually, made more of a difference there. I'd also be really curious to know, maybe we can Google this or have somebody look this up, but I wonder how many tenured black professors there were in 1619. I think that number is probably low.
Yeah,
but I can't verify that without looking it up. It seems to me that the position of Black Americans might have changed just a little bit.
I don't know. I just have a hunch. I feel like there was some big movement march on Washington. Is that what it was?
I don't. I'm too young to remember those things. I don't, or too old to remember them. Maybe.
Yeah, none of us remember. So instead of that, Nicole Hannah-Jones is just going to go to a nice bubble-wrapped echo chamber to talk and give her ideas to students who have already voluntarily segregated themselves. So I think that's your perfect audience. And I just want to say, I think that in order to be a well-known activist, I don't think any historically recognized activists had safe spaces, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think you're probably right about that. There certainly was a dearth of them in 1619. I think you could pretty much count on that part of it.
Yeah. Oh, man. So I guess my question for you guys is, why is Nicole Hannah-Jones still considered an activist when she hasn't actually done anything than complain from the New York Times upper castle?
Well, what actions has she actually taken to help anything? Anybody that is part of that movement that, pushes forward that whole CRT, critical theory, Marxist narrative. Those are the activists. Those are the saints that we need to look up to that are going to guide us to our new utopia in America. Yep. And it's so fitting that you made that Martin Luther King Jr. comparison, and that's a perfect example of how these people are different than MLK.
Oh yeah,
because they support segregation. That's what they want. They want all the people in all their races to be separated. Whites over here, blacks over here, Asians over there. The Asians get the worst of it usually,
right? Because they're actually successful.
Yeah,
they're not white and successful, which is a cardinal sin.
But anyone who and it's so great that she's now going to be teaching to black students the very things that have been holding back the lower levels of the black community for a half a century at this point. But any person that pushes their narrative is just this activist savior that needs to be, enshrined as some sort of saint.
It's such a perfect example of leftist newspeak too. I mean, what does activist mean? It's right there in the word act. Right? Active. It's action, right? And
they don't do anything.
And they don't do anything. And sadly, the ones who don't do anything are actually the better ones. The ones who do burn down buildings and stuff are just criminals. They're not activists. It's a perfect example of how leftists speak. The word has nothing to do with describing what's actually happening.
Yeah.
Why is she still considered an activist? Because that's what the media wants to consider.
Her biggest accomplishment is rewriting history to the point that a bunch of black historians had to correct her and say, no, this is like really bad. You have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.